Have you ever been stuck talking to somebody and you just want to escape? And as the minutes roll on, you're trying to figure out what it is about this conversation that just bothers you so bad. And eventually, it comes to you. This dude just won't stop talking about himself. And then you try to find a polite way to make your exit. Out of all the things in the world to talk about, art, literature, history, wars, religion, philosophy, architecture, cars, the Super Soaker 250 you had as a kid, your favorite dinosaur. Whatever you do, this guy just keeps bringing the conversation back to himself. You bring up anything, and within a few sentences, he's back on himself. Now, we all talk about ourselves a little bit, and that's okay. We all need to vent to friends, but if our identity becomes the most interesting thing about us, we're not very interesting. What makes a person interesting is talking about and doing interesting things. And this is yet another plight about modern movies. The writers are indoctrinated with these postmodern ideas of self-expression, self-actualization, all these sort of modernist and postmodernist views.
It doesn't matter your gender, your race, your culture, your religion, none of those things. If something makes you feel just wonderful, go for it.
It's me expressing myself against the system. I'm willing myself to power. My identity isn't created for me by any sort of traditional narrative. I create my own identity. And as romantic as that sounds, leaning too far into that is boring. No, I think Disney movies have done this really my whole lifetime.
I am the daughter of the village chief. I am everything I've learned and more. I am Moana.
But they're doing it more and more. So even with movies like Hercules, it was still about the epic mythological story, the hero's journey of Hercules. But now we can't even have a princess movie about princesses or about romance or chivalry. Now, I suspect the new Snow White movie has been rewritten and reworked to make it more tolerable, but it's still saturated with this stuff, and you can tell even from the trailer. And though Disney's never been exactly high culture, it was still as what Tolkien and Lewis would call vulgar, common. It still was pulling from the old myths, the old fairy tales, and still had some kind of a charm to it. It still had romance and the hero's journey. It still had struggling with loss. It still talked about things that resonate with us that are sort of universal to humans. The more the writers for Disney and Hollywood in general lean more into self-identity, self-actualization, self-expression, the more the movies become actually, ironically, less relatable to the rest of us. They become just as boring and drab as the rest of modern society. By the way, fun fact about me, I'm just now hearing it myself. The more exhausted I become, the more my accent tends to slip out. My grandmother actually thought I was drunk one time. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a woodpecker right over there. So Disney, do us a favor, stop it. Give us stories about romance, about mysteries waiting to be solved, about adventure, about struggling with loss. And yes, believe it or not, a lot of us still want just good old-fashioned classic romance. Lots of girls want to be princesses. Lots of boys want to have a chivalric hero's journey to fight for the love of a lady. And to be honest, don't we want to teach young men that it's good to stick up for women? These things are just my opinion, but I think I'm right. But it's getting dark and I best get out of these woods. As always, thanks for watching. Take care.